Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just saw the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie starring Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, and James Marsden. Now, when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog, he's of course been an icon of the video game industry ever since the 90s with his hit Sega Genesis game. And ever since, he's been in projects that vary wildly in quality, from pleasant throwbacks to the old times, to the worst games ever. But when it comes to this movie, it happens to be a mix of the best aspects of the Sonic lore, while also simultaneously feeling like this is just an upgraded version of Hop from 2011. Let's get to the story though, shall we? The story is that Sonic, played by Ben Schwartz, is essentially a hedgehog that lives in another world that's essentially the Green Hill Zone from the first Sonic game. But when he's forced to leave his home and go to Earth in order to avoid power-hungry people who want his super speed, he ends up living in Green Hills, Montana. Haha, see what you did there. Where he ends up lonely, but also a bit attached to a local cop played by James Marsden. However, when Sonic ends up revealing himself to the U.S. government, they call in Dr. Robotnik, a completely insane but also incredibly intelligent scientist, played by Jim Carrey, to capture Sonic the Hedgehog and use him for tests. So it's basically a buddy story with Sonic and James Marsden going to San Francisco in order to get his rings. So the story is basically as simple as it could possibly be for a buddy film of this type, and one of the biggest problems with the film is that there's very few surprises when it comes to its storytelling. Not that storytelling has been one of Sonic's big winning bits over the years, but it just feels like when it comes to any kind of extraterrestrial type of film like E.T., or heck, even, like I said, even Hop, it feels like a story that we've been seen a million times before, and when it comes to plot twists, you'll basically tell everything that's going to happen right before it happens. But the film does happen to make things entertaining, mainly due to Sonic's very engaging personality. Sonic has attitude to spare, just like he does in his games, and whether it's breaking the fourth wall like Deadpool, messing with people while in super speed like he's Quicksilver from the X-Men movies, or just using one of his several catchphrases, he's a joy to watch throughout the whole film, and the voice acting certainly helps. Not only that, but Jim Carrey is classic 90s Ace Ventura-style Jim Carrey when he's playing Dr. Robotnik, so he's allowed to go as over-the-top and hilarious as possible with his antics. He's a villain you can't help but love to hate, mainly because he's such a narcissist, but also because he's genuinely very funny while doing this. You can tell he's having the time of his life in the role, and we're having the time of our lives when we're watching him. But unfortunately, when Sonic and Robotnik aren't on screen, the rest of the characters are kind of boring. That's especially the case with James Marsden, who apparently hasn't increased his acting repertoire in anything since Up. I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but it just feels like he's playing a similar character here. And the same can be said for his girlfriend, the people in Green Hills, the U.S. government officials. They're stock characters you've seen a million times before. On top of that, the product placement in this movie, I haven't seen it this blatant since a Transformers movie or Man of Steel, with one of the most blatant plugs being for Olive Garden. I never thought that I'd see a movie where one of the ending scenes is literally a product placement for Olive Garden. Though, I might actually want to try that if the film is so insistent on it. I'm just kidding. But aside from the product placement, there are some childish gags, there's some lowbrow humor, but it's definitely nothing that'll make you absolutely groan. There were no moments in the film that just made me say, ugh, they really said that, or ugh, they really did that. It definitely feels like the kind of film you'd expect for the blue blur. Definitely flawed in many areas and not at all going to be a classic, but it's very entertaining for what it is, and you can see why Sonic's been around for as long as he has been. Also, there are two after-credit scenes. One that's already been shown in the trailers, and one that I think is going to do wonders if this turns into, say, a Sonic universe. And if we get a universe of Sonic movies, I'd be fine with that. So, Sonic the Hedgehog gets a 7 out of 10. See you next time.